solar coaster. Come along for the ride, yeah. The solar coaster's rolling, it feels so right. Hop on the solar coaster. Come along for the ride.
Aloha, my name is Anna Kober, and this is the Solar Coaster, the wild ride through the solar industry told by the people who are living it every day. In the hot seat with me today is Aaron McDaniel with Valpak. Aaron, let's kick this off. When did the sun first shine on your solar parade?
Aloha, Anna. Nice to see you again, as always, and you. Thank you so much for having me here in what is usually sunny Hawaii, but a little overcast today. But anyway, great to be here. Really enjoy your podcast and your show. So thanks for having me on. For me, I think I'm a little bit different than some of your average guests. Solar industry is pretty new to me. I recently purchased Valpak about a year ago. It's Valpak of Hawaii, I should say. I don't own the whole Valpak thing. I'm specialized here in Valpak of Hawaii. So I've been running here about a year, and that has given me exposure to a lot of different industries, solar being one of them. And I think for a lot of reasons, it's a really great fit for Valpak.
It is. And so, yeah, so like for those who are listening who don't know what Valpak is, it is that, you probably have received them in the mail. They're those little bundles of wonderful offers and promotions that come just like that. And those who are not watching the screen, who are listening on Spotify or another channel, it's like an envelope and you open it up and inside are all these different offers. Now, does every market have Valpak, or is it in all 50 states or not?
Yeah, it's a great question. So yeah, we call it the blue envelope, our famous blue envelope, full of coupons or offers. And it's not always coupons. Some of them are billboards, but usually there's some kind of deal or offer in there. We're in 150 markets. Now, I haven't looked at state by state breakdown, but I'm pretty sure that covers the entire United States. I know we're in Alaska, we're here in Hawaii, we're all over the US. And basically every major city, metro area in the US is covered. And the way they do it is pretty interesting. Here in Hawaii, we're a franchise, and about 50 of the markets, give or take, are franchises. And the other markets are called own markets, where they're owned by Valpak themselves.
Right.
The interesting part of works is, if you are wanting to do Valpak, you don't necessarily have to reach out through the market through just, if you wanted to advertise in LA and Texas, you don't have to talk to them individually. You can just go through one point of contact and they can place your ads in multiple markets. So that's a real benefit of the system that has so many different outlets. You don't need to, find different printers in every place you want to advertise.
Yeah. And what attracted you to Valpak? Have you always loved it, or why did you decide that this is the time?
Right. And who knew you could even buy a Valpak, right? Like, who did that? A Valpak of Hawaii. It was just an interesting opportunity. The last part of your question first, I did get Valpak as a kid growing up. And I do remember I enjoyed opening it. For me, it was like a mini treasure hunt. Even though I was younger at the time, obviously I wasn't a homeowner. I wasn't in Valpak's demographic. Maybe I was 12 or 13, but I would open it up and go through the coupons and just to see what was in there. And it kind of felt like, a little finding buried treasure, right? Oh, I got a 50% off coupon at my favorite Chinese restaurant. That's awesome. Maybe I can convince mom and dad to take us there this weekend. But that's kind of the beauty of Valpak is there's always cool stuff in there and you never know what it is. Now, how I found Valpak of Hawaii,
Yeah.
I had recently just exited my last business, which was totally different, a logistics business, and was looking for something to do in Hawaii. And talking to a business broker I knew, he had this deal that he thought was a really good fit. And I went and checked it out. And I think what attracted me to it was it's a business where my business succeeds if I help other people make money. And that's a brilliant thing, right? Where I'm only successful if my clients are successful. And Valpak of Hawaii in particular had a 25-year track record in Hawaii of helping small and mid-sized businesses make a lot of money. So what a great position to be in, where I get to be the guy that helps businesses grow and reach out to all different people in Oahu and across Hawaii. We do some advertising on all the islands. Possibly we have that capability, but mainly we focus on Oahu. So yeah, that's how I found it, and it's been a really great business. I get to meet with all different kinds of people, from restaurant owners to solar, to all different home services. You name it, we have it in Valpak. It's pretty cool.
And how often are you sending this mail out? Like, is it monthly? Is it weekly?
Yeah, every market's different. I can't speak to all the markets. I know some of the busiest markets, they do twice a month, which is awesome. They just have, so many people and businesses to serve. Here in Hawaii, we're a smaller market. It's considered a micro market, actually, even though, people-wise, we're pretty big, but we're spread out across all the islands. So right now we mail 13 times a year. So it's basically every 4 weeks. You can call it monthly, essentially, but 1 month there'll be two. But, for all intents and purposes, it's every 4 weeks. It goes out monthly.
So for those who are listening out here, I think that one of the interesting things about the solar industry in particular, and that I wrote about in my book, The Solar Coaster, is the opportunity of mail, right? Now we're all being flooded with emails. I don't know about you, Aaron, but I get so many emails that I can't even like, these are not people that I subscribe to, which really grinds my gears, being someone who believes in consumer trust and so it's a bother, but we're seeing degradation of emails. We're seeing the same thing with text messaging. We're seeing a lot of spam phone calls, but mail seems to still be very like non-invasive is what I would consider it. And there's a couple ways you can do mail, right? There's the every door direct mail, which is kind of what Valpak is, right? But bundled. And so when you compare yourself to like an every door direct mail, so for instance, what is the cost savings? Why would someone pick Valpak over having their own element?
Yeah, it's a great question. I know you're really familiar with mail. I was checking out your postcard site
Yeah.
before for the solar, which is beautiful. Uh, Valpak's a little bit different than every door direct mail, and really, some of our key differences is that we don't mail necessarily everybody in a certain zip code because that's just a massive number of people, and a lot of those are going to be wasted. You're going to waste that because it's not someone who would be interested in your offers, or someone doesn't have the money or the time or the interest in what you're trying to give them. So what Valpak does is we create a curated list. And we're just as much of a data company as we are a mailing company. And data is everything, whether you're doing digital marketing or this is more traditional print marketing. Data is super important. So we contract with all the largest data providers like Claritas and MRI Simmons to pull a variety of spending and income data on everyone in our target area. So, for instance, Oahu, right? We pull the data and we look for our key target households in every single zip code. And those are going to be households that spend more money than average on home services and going out to eat and going to concerts and events, restaurants, etc., and also have higher than average income. And then we combine that with household ownership. So not everybody who receives Valpak is a homeowner, but the vast majority are. So we're looking for home ownership, income, and spending habits, and we bundle all that together, and we come up with a list of people in every zip code that we're servicing. And those are the people who get the Valpak. So instead of EDDM, where you're wasting a lot of mail and postage, which is still quite expensive, we can target the right people, the people who are most likely to be interested in getting Valpak. So that does a couple of things, but the main thing is it increases our open rate and it decreases your total postage cost because you're only mailing to the people who are most likely to use your offer. So
Right.
yeah, long answer to your question,
Yeah.
but compared to EDDM, it's the targeting and then it's cheaper, right? Because we're doing a shared mail service, which is our core product. We have other products, but the blue envelope's our core one. It's a shared mail. There's going to be on average, 25 to 35 coupons in any given envelope. So that cost of postage is a lot cheaper for people in the blue envelope than it would be if you were to send something on your own. So you're getting a really good deal.
Yeah. Is there different pricing models? Just like when you are on, you want to buy a newspaper ad, like the midweek as a for instance. And I know not everyone is listening right now is in Hawaii, but we have a free newspaper, and on the front of the front page, there's a bottom strip banner ad that's like very popular, and it's been a Windows company forever, right?
Yeah.
And they might be in here. I'm not sure if they're in Valpak or not, but they've always been there. It's like Hawaii Windows or whatever it is. And so can you pay more to be the first coupon when you open the mail? Like inside the pack of the 30, is there placement specific criteria or is it like random?
Yeah, it's not random, and no, you can't pay more. There is one thing you can pay more for, and we don't always have it, but we call it unpack. And I know people listening they can't see it, but on the front of the coupon, before you even open it, we can put an ad
Oh,
there.
oh,
There's only Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I
This
didn't
this
see
is
that. I
on
don't
your
think. Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
in your placement
Cool.
for Window Cleaners, which is a great company, one of our big clients. We only get that maybe half the year or less because sometimes people like Wendy's or the Puppy Bowl or whoever is going to take that placement. But we do get a handful of local slots, and they're really, really effective. Like last year, we had one for the Made in Hawaii Festival, for instance.
Oh
We
yeah.
put that on the outside. So that does cost extra because it's a custom printing. So that's one option that we give to our biggest clients, and we can, maybe we only have 6 or 7 of those a year. But in terms of the order of the coupons, we don't charge for placement. Valpak has a placement formula, so it's pretty much out of my hands. But essentially, what happens is the restaurants go first, and the way you can be the first restaurant is we have different size ads. So there's what's called a single panel or a flyer, and a flyer is one that's folded in the envelope. So it's bigger. You could have your full menu, more pictures on it. It's a premium product. So the premium products do go first. So if you purchase the flyer instead of the insert and you're a restaurant, you're going to be pretty much first in every single envelope.
Wow.
But that's just the way. And Valpak has that formula because, a lot of times people open Valpak to see the restaurants. So the restaurants are front loaded and the home services and national stuff goes in the back.
What are you
And that way
seeing
people,
for, yeah, for home services? What are you seeing? I mean, you obviously have clients for and a lot of data here. What is a typical conversion rate on an offer, and how much does the offer matter?
yeah, the offer is obviously super important. And I
Yes.
don't have conversion rates to share with you, but we do have a lot of case studies that are showing like a return on ad spend could anywhere be, 4 to 10x, depending on, what your offer and industry is. And sometimes they even go crazy high. But, if we're looking at the more average offer return rates, the conversion rate, it totally depends on your offer. If you don't have any offer, your conversion rate is probably going to be pretty low. But sometimes people just want a billboard, a mini billboard in the mail for their services, no special deal. They're going to get a lot less calls than someone who has, hey, $2,500 off your solar system. Hey, that sounds like a pretty good deal. And even though the tax credit might have ended, they can still save a bunch of money and maybe get the state tax credit, et cetera. So yeah, offer is super important. And I wish I had better stats for you besides the individual case studies, but it really varies because we serve so many industries, from people serving burgers and fries all the way through doors and windows. So it's going to totally vary on your industry vertical and what your offer is going to be. But having a good offer is super key, obviously, to work in Valpak.
Yeah. So, restaurants, what other verticals are you seeing are having, are using this tool? And, is it, have you seen a degradation? Like as people are starting to use more online, has there been any kind of like the yellow pages, right? A lot of, people are jumping in, are they jumping out? What's the trend?
Yeah, I've only owned this business for a year, so it's a little hard for me to say. We've seen very steady retention rates across our clients. We've certainly seen, even as things get softer, actually, in the economy, or maybe they're talking about a mini recession in Hawaii or something, we've seen advertising pick up a little bit, which I think makes sense, right? If you're a business owner and you're seeing sales go down, even though it's a little painful, it's time to actually spend a little bit more on marketing if you want to get people through the door and, maintain your margin. So I think even with the economy softening, you still have to spend money on marketing, and we've seen it be pretty consistent. Besides home services and restaurants, we always have a handful of clients in automotive and retail as well. And then you add on the national clients, which are out of my purview, but Valpak Corporate handles the national accounts, the large accounts. And we've seen steady interest across them as well. Things like Princess Cruises and Sam's Club. A lot of financial services get added in there as well. Those are all handled nationally, and we've seen a pretty consistent volume with them too. And they advertise across millions of envelopes, countrywide. And they're seeing a pretty good return on it as well. So I think for Valpak, it's been pretty steady with a slight uptick actually when the economy starts to go down. Which of course we never want to see the economy go down, but it's been good for marketing, of course, purposes. Yeah.
What have you seen then the most exciting offer that you've seen since you started? That you were like, wow.
Wow, wow. Well, I
Yeah.
think, one of my favorite offers, of course, in the restaurant space is because something I use, our Yutaku has been a client for a long time, and they have, buy one meal, get one 50% off. So my wife and I, we bring the family there just because, hey, who doesn't want to save $50 off some awesome sushi, right? And that's just
Oh,
me
yeah.
personally. I'm like, heck yeah, 50% off. Hard to beat that, right?
That is hard.
But that's exciting just because I like sushi and I like 50% off. But other clients, I've used them personally. Our cabinet guy, AOK Cabinets, they're really fantastic. and they provide a variety of deals. I can't say, exactly what the deal is going to be next month because it's always, somewhat different. But a lot of times they have either, 40 or 50% off the cabinets that you would install for your kitchen. And then you have to pay for the installation, obviously, but you're getting a great deal on the cabinets, and they did a fantastic job. So when you see offers like that, it's like, wow, I could save a bunch of money if I need some new cabinets, or I want some sushi, or why not both, right? You can do both in the same thing with Valpak. That's the great part about it.
So are you doing the creative, or is the client responsible for submitting the creative to you?
Yeah, you have the option. Most of our clients let us do the creative. We're obviously experts at it, and that's something that Valpak Corporate handles as well. They have a team of like crack designers that are really, really good at creating eye-catching coupons. So kind of my job is to collect the clients and work with them on the offer. We hand that offer off to the graphics team, and they'll go to the website, they'll look at Instagram, whatever you have. They're going to keep the branding and everything consistent with your current logo, and then make the offer, eye-catching in there. And of course, because it's our business, Valpak did a ton of research on what kind of coupons convert best. And we have a fantastic product we call the Coupon Lookbook, which goes through a variety of different coupons and shows you what converts better within the Valpak system, because it's somewhat of a unique product. So we've done the internal research to say, what coupons work best. And right now, of course, simple is best, right? They, clear branding, one hero image, maybe one offer, maybe two at the most. And that's what gets people's attention. You don't want an eyesore of a coupon where you have, 17 offers and all different kinds of menus that you need a micro magnifying glass to see. So keep it simple. Put a QR code on there if people want more information, because that's a great combo. The QR code right on the front and the back of the coupon, they can scan it with their phone, and that can take them to, make an appointment page or order now page if you're a restaurant, whatever it might be. And that converts really, really well.
Remember, you can track
And
that
I
at
don't
least.
Yeah, exactly. And people often ask, how are we tracking, if your coupon's working or not? You're not Google, you don't have a conversion pixel that you can throw up on the page, right? And we can do that both through, like you mentioned, the QR code, because we keep track of that. And then we use phone number tracking. So what a lot of people don't know is all the phone numbers, not all, but the majority of phone numbers you see on our Valpak ads are actually not the number for the business. It's a Valpak tracking number that immediately connects, like the customer won't even know, except they get the little, this call may be monitored or recorded,
Sure.
before it starts. Besides that, it redirects right to the business. And then we can pull the report every mailing and say, hey, you got 37 calls through Valpak last month. And that's not to count the number of people who Googled you after seeing the coupon. So that's the minimum number of leads you got from the coupon last month. And that's just a great tool to have in your toolbox, so you can see whether it's working or not, and in which zones it's working. We can do a variety of different things to track zones and or different ads, like by changing the number.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So your team, it's like so basically Valpak kind of does, everything. So it's a very easy business to own, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot, and they're a really great company. I can't say enough good things about them. They provide so much support. What they don't do is go out and meet local businesses, right? So my job is to go, be the face of Valpak of Hawaii, go meet with clients, show them how their ads are performing, and of course, get new clients into the envelope. And we want to keep an interesting envelope, because that's how we have a 92% open rate, right? It keeps it fresh. We always have new restaurants and new offers. It's not the same old thing every single mailing. So that's kind of my job, is to help be the content moderator, basically, make sure that the envelope's interesting and full of good offers for people so they keep opening it.
So I have a question for you. So it's also in a micro market like our own. Like let's say our client like early achievers preschool, right? They're in Kahala.
Mhm.
So could you specifically, is it everyone in the Valpak Hawaii, or could I specifically get on a list of Valpak families of young children in the East Side? Like how specific can it be?
Yeah, so great question. In terms of the blue envelope, who we mail it to is basically set, right? So there's 10,000 people, 10 in Kahala and Hawaii Kai. That's the zone together. The way we do it is we break everything out by, we call them zones, but really that's just one or two zip codes worth of people. And each zone, we have 20,000 highly targeted households. As we talked about before, we're looking at the data. So there might be 40,000 households in that area, but we're only mailing 20,000 because they meet our criteria. And then we're going to mail those every single time. So you can't really say, I only want families with young children for this mailing, because the blue envelope just goes to those targeted people pretty much no matter what. Now we do refresh that data, people move, things change. So we refresh that data constantly to make sure we have the most accurate list of that data, but there's no way to just target families of young children. But what we can do is, that's not our only product. We do postcards and solo mail, we call it, where the world is your oyster. And essentially, you can come to us, and using our Valpak data team, and the research and data team, they know everything about everybody pretty much if you ask them to. You could say, build me a list within 5 miles of Kahala of people with young children between the ages of 2 and 4. And we'll go ahead and create that list for you. There'll be a small list fee for the research of it. And then we can go and do a postcard mailing for you. We can't mail out the blue envelope because that's a specific product, but we could still make the postcards, and then we can target those families, and that won't even have any Valpak branding on it, right? That will just be your own postcard front and back. We help you design it, and then we can get it into the hands of exactly the people you're looking for, and obviously super highly effective. It's going to be a lot more expensive per piece, right? Because you have to pay the commercial rate, which we can help you get the lowest rate possible, but it's still going to be about 35 cents for the postage. And then we have to print it, right? And sort it and bring it to the post office. So there's other costs that go into that. It's going to be more expensive, but it is a very highly effective way to mail. And for people who have higher budgets, you're probably looking at least $4,000 or $5,000 per mailing, right? If you can have that higher budget, you're going to have great results by being specific targeting that way. We definitely can help with that kind of thing too. And for people who can afford it, it's a great way to go. And if you can't afford it, we'll just put you in the blue envelope. It's a lot cheaper, right? And then some of those families it won't be as targeted, but there will be a lot of people with families who can open it up.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
not something.
we know. I mean, even with any direct mail, I mean, we've seen this with. I've got 2 direct mail companies, and we see that you need to have. It's not top of funnel, right? You're you still have to commit to more than one drop. But if you think that you're gonna just send someone a mailer and they're gonna immediately respond, you're wrong, right? And we've done custom mail. We send for like aerial impacts is one of my solar ones I do, and we actually sent an actual solar diagram of your house. And it's like, hey, your neighbor's saving with solar. What if you did too? And it's like their picture of their house with their name, their savings, so it's like a soft quote, right? And those were going out the door. They were large cars. They were like 5.5 by 8, I think. I don't know. They were like larger cars, or maybe larger than that. But it was about like $2 a car, But people were holding on to them because they had their name on it. It was custom. They used their house. But even then, depending on the industry, or not the industry, but depending on the, like your point, the economy, we saw that in some markets, that wasn't even enough, right? And so now you're looking at 3,000 units at a time, and the price can get really high. And in real estate, like a good campaign, 3 mail, 0.5%. So what is your recommendation, for someone who's in Valpak? This is a long-term campaign. There's once a month. It's you're looking at recurring eyeballs and impression share. So what is the, one and done? Probably not. Like, you're looking for people to do an ongoing campaign. And what are you recommending?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and it's probably the biggest misconception we get when we meet people for the first time, right? They said, "Oh, can I try it out and see if it works, and then I'll keep doing it?" And it's like, well, you can do that, but you're not going to have great results. And frequency is really important in any kind of advertising, but especially in mail. For whatever reason, people need to see it multiple times before it becomes the most effective. And we can track the impact of multiple mailings. And what we see is really an uptick around the 4th to 5th time. Now, that means they have to see it 4 or 5 times before they're most likely to take action on it. So if you give up after 2 or 3 times, you're not getting the most value for your dollar, because those initial 3 mailings are really priming them for when the most important thing is going to happen. They're going to pick up the phone and call you on the 4th, 5th, or 6th mailing. Now, that changes, of course, across different offers. If you have a great offer, maybe they're going to call the first time. But especially for things like home services, most of them are not an immediate must do. Like, you need new doors and windows. Well, yeah, I need new doors and windows eventually, but it's a very big project. It's going to cost a lot of money. You want to really make sure that you're there when they actually decide to pull the trigger, and that you're top of mind, that they've seen you multiple times, to build up the trust, the branding, and the relationship. So yeah, what we recommend is a minimum of 6 touches, right? and 12 would be better. But 6 we can manage, right? And that's why we have at least, our first contract, we recommend 12 months, but we can start as low as 6 months. And that way you're getting enough touches to be in front of people multiple times. You're going to have a better result than just trying it once or twice. So once or twice, I'm not saying you're wasting your money, but you could get better ROI if you continue the campaign.
Yeah. Well, that's some good advice. So, how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in mail?
Yeah, I'd love to talk to people in Hawaii, and you don't even need to be in Hawaii necessarily. Because of Valpak's network, I could get you placed wherever you want to be in the country, right? If you want to be in LA, New Jersey, whatever, we could help you out all here through Hawaii. You could reach us we're valpakofhawaii.com. If you just go to valpak.com/Hawaii as well, we have a number as well. You can probably post my details below the
Yeah,
episode, right?
we'll post it. We'll post them in the channel here, and
Some other channel.
we'll post them.
We're happy to anyone talk marketing, see if it's a good fit, and you can see how Valpak could work for your business.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being here. And to all my listeners, please join me next week as I interview another industry expert on topics to help you succeed the wild ride of the solar coaster. Thank you so much to my fans. We're just approaching 40,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that's because of you and your aloha. So continue to share this content with your other solar lovers or home service lovers, and I will see you next week in the Pixels. Aloha.
Hop on the solar coaster, come along for the ride.